Have Indiana State Police investigators cracked the case of murdered Abigail Williams and Liberty German from Delphi? I mean, they're looking at one alleged predator in a way that they haven't before. What's happening in the murder at Monon High Bridge? Hello, everybody, and welcome to Profiling Evil on Court TV with Vinnie Politan. I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button as we get going on this true crime review. And it is big. There was big news out of Indiana today as state police announced that they're looking into a social media profile named Anthony Schatz, and whether the owner of that profile is tied to the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Let's take a second and watch this Court TV segment with Vinnie Politan and my colleague Bobby Chacon to learn more.
Carrie Timmons did not need to say a word for the world to be reminded of the deep loss being felt by the families of Libby German and Abby Williams. Raw emotions as new details became public more than 2 years after the girls were killed. A new sketch of the prime suspect described as an 18 to 40-year-old man who may live, work, or visit in Delphi. For the first time, moving video of the suspect on the Monon High Bridge was released. This video that Libby German secretly recorded when the suspect approached her and Abby on the bridge back on February the 13th, 2017. State police also shared a bit more of the audio from that video. In the past, we've heard the three words, "down the hill." Now listen closely to the new release.
Down the hill, guys. Down the hill, guys. Down the hill.
It's now been 4 years. The Delphi murders have not been solved. It's tonight's unsolved case file. And there's a new development here in this case. And it's difficult to truly understand because not a lot of information has been released in this case, by the way. Little pieces here and there. It took 2 years for that new sketch to be released. Let's take a listen now. This is Sergeant Jeremy Pierce from the Indiana State Police giving an update with this new information that was uncovered during the investigation into the murders of Abby and Libby.
While investigating the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German, detectives with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office and the Indiana State Police have uncovered an online profile named Anthony Schatz. This profile was being used from 2016 to 2017 on social media applications, including but not limited to Snapchat and Instagram. The fictitious Anthony Schatz profile used images of a known male model and portrayed himself as being extremely wealthy and owning numerous sports cars. The creator of the fictitious profile used this information while communicating with juvenile females to solicit nude images, obtain their address, and attempt to meet with them. Pictured on your screen, you'll see images of the known male model and images of the fictitious profile sent to the underage females. We have already identified the male in these images that were used by Anthony Schatz. The male in the photo is not the person of interest in the investigation. Detectives are seeking information about the person who created the Anthony Schatz profile. Investigators would like any individual who communicated, met, or attempted to meet the Anthony Schatz profile to contact law enforcement by utilizing the tip email, abbyandlibbytip@cacoshrf.com. Please provide as much information as you possibly can. For example, when you communicated with Anthony Schatz, how you communicated with the profile, what social media applications the account used, and if Anthony Schatz attempted to meet you or obtain your address. If you have saved images or conversations with Anthony Schatz profile, please attach them to your email. Again, if you have any information, please contact law enforcement by utilizing the tip email, abbyandlibbytip@cacoshrf.com. Thank you.
Okay, I will admit this is a little confusing. I don't know how much of it makes sense. We're getting bits and pieces through the years in this case, but what does this development mean? Where's it coming from? Still with us, retired police commander and host of the Profiling Evil podcast, Mike King, and retired FBI Special Agent Bobby Chacon. And joining us now in Indianapolis, Indiana, is an anchor with our great affiliate WRTV, Mark Mullins. Mark, thanks so much for joining us. And I know you're busy getting ready for the news tonight, but can you give us a little more context and a little more information, background, this video, what it means, where it came from, and how it is or is not necessarily related to the search for the killer of Libby and Abby?
I have to say, great to be with you here tonight. I have to say that the release of this video and this new information opened up more questions for us than answers. And of course, it's been a very frustrating case, not only for those of us in the media, but also for the families of Abby Williams and Libby German as well, and the investigators who are working on the case. We received this new information last night, probably around this time, so about 24 hours ago, this was released to us. And the Indiana State Police had said that this was new information coming out in connection to the Delphi murders investigation involving Abby and Libby, and they wanted information about who was behind this fake social media profile that went by the name Anthony_Shots. Anthony Shots. Apparently, this was a social media profile on Instagram, Snapchat, and others. And the person behind this Anthony Shots profile was using it, according to police, to solicit nude images from underage girls, to get their addresses as well. This person was pretending to be a young model. A young man. The pictures were from that of a well-known model, but the person who set up the account was pretending to be a young man who was wealthy and had many cars, and using that story to try to impress the girls he was soliciting. Today we learned that though investigators know who is behind this profile, they say that the pornography charges, the child pornography charges and solicitation are not connected to the Abby and Libby murders investigation, which I have to admit threw us all for a loop here. But this case has really been bizarre from the get-go, from the initial sketch that we saw in the months after the initial disappearance and the discovery of the girls' bodies, to the second sketch that came out in 2019, which we were then instructed that we should not show the older sketch because we didn't want to create confusion there. But naturally, we've had the original sketch, the secondary sketch, and now the images of this known model who is not connected to the investigation, but his photos were used. Those were out there. So now investigators want people who have had conversations with this Anthony Shots profile to come forward with what may have been said, screenshots of their conversations, and if they had ever met with the person themselves. A very bizarre turn.
It really is. It really is. Let's bring in our investigators. Mike King, this is a case that we've got video of the suspected killer, but I look at that video and it doesn't look like the new sketch. I look at the new sketch and it kind of looks like the guy from the Anthony Shots profile. So my head is all over the place on this one. What are your thoughts, Mike, about how, first of all, this Shots character from Snapchat gets uncovered during the course of this investigation? What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder if this is an entire red herring, that this suspect in this picture that we are convinced was tied to this crime maybe never was. Maybe it was two different instances where they crossed in time. I think that's less likely. But we have to also consider the quality of that video, how far it was taken away. And people can gain weight and lose weight over time based on things that are going on in their lives. No amount of facial hair can change that. So in this particular case, what we need to do is start looking at the profile that this was used on social media and the person behind it, and start looking at if there are any old photos that show similar kinds of clothing or a similar gait in the way that he walks, or this predacious nature of how he was grooming these young children to send photographs of themselves to him, did those same kinds of things happen? And even though police might be tipping their hand and saying it's not tied to Abby and Libby's case, are there indications that they were online and talking to people and sending pictures and perhaps even meeting someone? This whole thing got a whole lot more interesting today.
Yeah, Bobby, I want to get your reaction to this new development, but also on the nature of what happened to Abby and Libby. Does it strike you more of a crime of opportunity? They just happened to be there and the killer happened to be there, or were they potentially lured there? Because if you bring the Shots character into the mix here, I think it opens the door up to potentially being lured there.
Yeah, I mean, I've followed this case from the beginning. I've done a lot of appearances on it. I don't think that they were lured there. I think the sister drove them there. This was a place that they would go occasionally. Now, it could be that somebody was lying in wait and for an opportunity to get, two young girls that happened to come by when no one else was around. I always thought it was a bit brazen because it was in the middle of the afternoon. It was a bright day, and they didn't know that if somebody else could come walking by. So I don't know what to make of this new thing. Now, remember, they said that the child pornography interest in that profile is not related to the case, but there is some connection to this case from that profile. Right now, in homicide school, we learned, there's the world of the victim and there's the world of the location. So it could be that profile used this park to try to meet people, try to lure people, and that's their interest. So there may be not a direct connection to Libby and Abby's murder, but they know that this person may be using that location. So it could be a location-based interest, not a victim-based interest. I don't know. This is conjecture because we just don't know. But we should also know, because we're seeing a lot of this young man's face, this is not the guy they're interested in. This poor guy is a model who had his photographs basically stolen to create this profile to draw young girls in. So we're seeing a lot of this face, and I hope people don't lose the fact that this person you're seeing is an innocent victim here. He had his photos stolen so that somebody else could create the profile to lure people in. And so that they should ignore what this person looks like, what the face they're seeing. Whoever's behind that profile has some kind of connection to either the victims or the location, in my opinion, because those are the two worlds that when we're investigating a homicide, those are the two worlds that we have to work with. So we just don't know because we don't have enough information. But I don't think it was a luring situation because, I've heard the sister talk a lot about that last drive when she drove the girls to that park, and it's something that they've done before. It's a common kind of hiking, walking area. So I think that this was a lying in wait, whether or not he knew the perpetrator knew these two girls particularly, or whether it was just the right place at the right time to attack. That's still anyone's guess right now.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking and frustrating for the family and the whole community. Bobby Chacon, Mike King, always great to have you in the program. Thank you so much. Mark Mullins, very busy at WRTV in Indianapolis. Appreciate your time tonight. Thanks so much.
Keegan Anthony Klein is currently sitting in a Miami, Indiana jail, awaiting a trial for child solicitation, child exploitation, and the possession of child pornography, synthetic identity deception, and obstruction of justice. His focus, allegedly, is underage girls, and he was using his social media profile to obtain about 100 plus sexually explicit pictures and videos of underage girls. The real question on my mind is there evidence that would suggest that his deviant actions appear to progress to the point that they would be consistent with someone who would murder? The violent nature in which Abby and Liberty fell victim to? Or are these investigators just chasing another red heron, and frankly, rightly so? I'm going to be interested in your opinion on this one, and I hope you'll take time to enter your comments down below. I want to thank my friends at Court TV for the chance to weigh in on important true crime cases from across the country like this one. Could you imagine how awesome it would be if Abby and Libby's families were to get some kind of closure before Christmas this year? Folks, if you found this video useful, please click on the like and subscribe button and invite your friends to check us out at Profiling Evil. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can always get our podcasts at your favorite podcast platform. Or if you're interested, swing over to the web and check us out at profilingevil.com. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you soon at the next crime scene.